Oh.
Hey, I know that going into spring you weren't trying to win jobs and organize depth charts and things of that nature. But has that happened at all? Has anybody stepped to that point where you're like, wow, they're in there more than we thought, or this is a spot they've earned, or anything like that?
I think there's guys, Matt, that are showing up that they're going to help this team to say where it's at. I don't know if we're quite there. I let the coaches kind of roll the guys to get reps. I get a rep count of all our 11 team sessions that we have. I'm more looking about where it's at versus maybe guys who have played a lot of snaps and who do we have to get more work and evaluation. We'll probably progress towards that a little bit. And then we're starting to get dinged up and a guy misses here and there. So holistically, I guess I'm looking at how much better are we going to be as a team, and especially in that 2 deep. And I think that's where it's starting to show, and with the newcomers that they are going to help us. And in that area. Is there a particular position you were thinking of?
I was just curious overall, and I wonder, like, obviously when you're doing just practice and situational stuff and drills and all that, that's one thing. Do the scrimmages show you more? I mean, it seems like that would be obvious, but
there is. Again, I think this is the most physical spring ball we've had as a staff, and I think the players have embraced that, and I think that's showing up in some areas with some guys as well. As we have 9 in, it'll be, defensive end right now is a spot we're a little thin with injuries, so we've got to try to get a couple guys back so we can keep this format rolling, because it benefits everyone.
You mentioned being the most physical spring practice. Is that a good thing in your summation?
Absolutely. It's probably, and that's more on me than anything, and probably some times of looking at things that we need to do and want to do on both sides of the ball. And but I think when I walk into the room in the morning and explain where we're practicing, I don't get a lot of weird looks or anything, or rolling of eye. No, I think our guys are embracing what we have to do to take another step as a team, and I think that's going to be good and healthy, and we've got to see where we come out of this and to make sure these last 6 are in the same fashion.
Yeah, Daniel was out there in shorts, but
it's a progression and things, and we're taking advice from doctors and trainers, and the best way to do that, and did we hope at one time, just like in bowl prep, if there was going to be something, then decided that we needed a hold, and then there's something. It's kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back with him. It's in kind of there, and we're hoping to be in a position that he'd maybe be in a live drill before spring was up. I don't know if it's going to trend that way or not, but because I know it's been a frustrating road for him as well. But he's working hard, and you can see him moving around, and there's some things there that hopefully, as he's done the little bit he has here, that it progresses in a way that he can keep doing a little more.
Yeah, and how have you seen him manage that? Because obviously he wants to be out there.
Yeah, it's hard. It's, because parts, all of us understanding they're watching, you take last year alone and how well he played, and then being shut up, but then he missed the year before with something else. That's a hard mentally to stay on, and of course I think he's handled it very well.
Scrimmage today, what did you think?
Yeah, again, I like our physicality. I think, again, this week we've kind of, I know on the offensive side especially, started mixing and matching. Offensive line wise, Scott moved some guys around, take a look at some things, reduce reps on a few others. So, maybe not as clean as maybe it had been before, but I think there's some other things that we're doing that kind of causes that, which we'll clean up again for next week. Dylan McDuffie appeared to, I didn't even get the report yet, might have, tweaked an ankle or something. So we're really thin yet at the running back spot as well, without any scholarship running backs taking live reps right now. So, we'll work through that as well. But I think we're doing some things out on the perimeter, working on physicality, doing some things, and I was pleased with where that's trending. I know that was a point of emphasis for Andy this week and the staff. So That on both sides is really, I think, going to help us as we go. Playing, for our secondary and linebackers and people to play things that are happening out there, whether it be through our option game or quick game, and as well as our receivers and people either making plays or blocking physically on the perimeter.
You've emphasized kind of the growth of the program and internal improvements. Is there anybody name-wise that you feel like has really stood out internal improvement-wise?
Oh, you know me, when it comes to that, guys, I always feel about what am I going to say? Who am I going to leave out in this? Oh man, Jason Bean always kind of sticks out to me, and just how he progresses in different ways. I think in the receiver spot, Doug Edelman's had a good week this week, and some things we're asking him to do. I think Kevin Terry's had has a very steady spring. Kobe Baines is a guy that now, Kobe, we had him at guard, we moved him out to tackle for spring and last year some at the end. Now we thought he was from there. Now we moved him back in to guard a little bit this week. So we're trying to get him in a good position where he can play both spots and help this football team in some capacity, because he's a physical player. I thought Michael Ford, who's played center mostly, him and Dominic Pooney have been playing the most center with Mike being out. And we probably limited some of Michael Ford's guard reps this week, but I saw him showing up today with some physicality and pulling and doing things that I thought was a great step. I think Logan Brown still continues to learn our scheme and what we're doing, and so I guess I'm not giving you great answers on certain guys, but I've been pleased with the progress of many. I know Andy made a comment about even the continued increase of play of Mason Fairchild and things like that. Defensively, I always, a day doesn't go by where I don't see, Taiwan Berryhill flash speed and physicality, and to me, O.J. Burrows we challenged him in some things. I saw him make improvements. I think our two corners have been very steady. Jalen Dye, I guess, is one that continues. He'll be, as well as the two other younger safeties. Jalen will probably get the most benefit of Kenny and Marvin not practicing this spring, and that's going to help our team. Patrick Joyner really got his most, and then he got some more today, and then we shut him back down, and we're going to really need, hopefully, get something out of these next 6 from him, hopefully. And Davian Westmoreland's a guy that's kind of been, he had an off-field incident that caused some whiplash in a car accident, and so he missed some time, and then I always go back to Austin Booker, because he's got that length and some things that it kind of gives us a look out there we haven't necessarily had.
When we talked to Kalon the other day, he mentioned seeing some more pop from guys outside of the defensive line. Have you seen that?
Kalen Burbidge?
Yes. Yeah. He said more pop and more intensity there. Have you seen that too?
Yeah, and I think some of that has been orchestrated by how that's what I mean by what we're doing this spring, and some drills that have forced that, and the nice thing is they've responded, to that, and understanding why we're doing it and what it needs to do, and they get more comfortable, and I think that's part they're embracing. I see that as something that we have to do. We'll continue to do that in parts of fall camp, and that's hopefully going to be a big step for us, and especially on that side of the ball, taking a step in improvement.
You mentioned Jalen Dye too there a second ago.
Yeah.
What's his progression kind of looked like, and what have you seen from him as you're doing?
His personality is a pretty reserved guy, and doesn't say a whole lot, and works hard, very coachable. He's got tons of talent, but by doing it, you could see it even in the December practices. But because Kenny and Marvin and we're limited, with the total numbers there, part of that forced him to communicate more by being out with the units, but he's also out there sometimes with guys that played a lot of football in this program, so that helps him as well. And again, I think he showed up on some plays and getting, near the line of scrimmage and filling in and playing with that kind of confidence, and that's what you hope after they, especially there's a guy that comes in last summer, that's hard, versus a guy, the junior college player that comes in January. So now he's got this year under his belt, and I really think of what we're seeing now and how it progresses. But what I'm really excited, and I'll put our early enrollees in this, is those bonus practices, or a guy like Jalen and others that have redshirted, is that you really see the difference, hopefully in August, because they just feel so much better and confident and stronger, and it all starts coming together.
Along those lines, this is probably better to ask next week, but I might forget. When you talk about a more physical spring, is there something you do on the back end of that, heading into summer workouts and stuff, to give them a little less time of hitting it hard and being intense, just to make sure that they're not beating on themselves all year?
You know, I guess the one thing is we'll be done by really, the first week, and done the first week of April. They really won't, we'll be lifting and doing things. There'll be some, that's where Matt will do a good job, and we want to make sure that we give them some downtime, so to speak, or maintenance work, and then start building for an intense summer of weights. But again, parts of these practices, the good thing is really the only other practice we have back to back is the last two.
Mm-hmm.
So, really they have 2 days off now until next time. So there's some recovery in there, and even today's scrimmage, I'll be surprised if there's anybody that, last scrimmage we had 3 guys with over 30 snaps. I wonder how many we'll have with over 25 today. And so it is physical, but yeah.
Good. How important is it? You guys are shifting a lot of O-linemen around. How important is it that they're all seeming like they're learning other positions?
I think especially now, and in fact, we don't really put a lot of restrictions on either side of the ball and what we're doing, and because you got to figure it out sometime anyway. So a lot of it is we're gonna stress them in many different ways. What do I mean? Our offense is always moving and shifting, motioning, and all that. Defensively, they're stemming and bringing pressures. So we can put some guys now. Scott and I will talk a lot, and then sometimes Andy's involved in that. But is he more versatile like Bryce Cable do? I think I've said this before. Is he, he's going to play both tackle spots, and he kind of has, okay? But I was talking about Kobe Baines. Is it better for Kobe just to play the right side, not trying to play all 4 of those positions, So the versatility really gets to be unique. Michael Ford's played everywhere pretty much in his career. Amarje's been strictly, right. He's played both guard spots. Dominic Pooney came here. He had him at tackle to start. Because of his physicality, we thought he would be better at guard. Honestly, we're making him an emergency center, but we feel he's a guy that's going to have opportunities after next year here. So we want to give him chances snapping the ball. So that's not foreign to him if he's asked ever to do that. So part of that's going to help us. It helps us as a team in versatility in what regard? It would be. And I challenge Scott a lot. We have these conversations. Is if somebody goes down, we want to put the 6th best offensive lineman at that moment on the field. And sometimes you've run into situations where a guy's only a backup. Sometimes maybe take the position. I'll have to leave names out. Sometimes it happens in past years. If you lose a right guard, your backup right guard may be the 10th if you had to list 1 through 10 of your 2 deep offensive linemen. By doing this, once they can handle that, you're more flexible to keep playing with your best units. The other thing that it allows, especially when guys move from inside out or outside in, or what it could be guard to center, center to guard to tackle, vice versa, they start to understand what that other person next to them has to think and process and what they're going through. And many times that makes you a better cohesive unit working together when they have the opportunity to experience that.
Looked like pretty good numbers for the coaches clinic today.
Yeah, we're pleased. It's still I said we're going to continue to work at it because you're always battling schedules and breaks and spring sports if they're coaching too. But much like everything in our program, I think it took another good step in the positive direction. As some of you guys have known that you've been here, and we've had the most traffic, even on the other practices by far more than last year, by far more than any place I've worked in the last 15 years. So that's all exciting. gives us a chance to hopefully give them something to work with, and also thank them for their efforts and allowing us to come into their schools and recruit.
You mentioned defensive end, just guys being banged up. What's kind of your holistic level of concern there, just in terms of guys being healthy, getting reps?
I'm not at that point of being, it's spring, it's what it, now, we just can't let it be, something that's chronically gonna bother us, but, again, it's a rotational position, and, as I told the team, at any position, we gotta get healthy, gotta stay healthy, and you gotta find a way to get through it, and also, you gotta be able to be counted on, and, so it goes in those, but we'll get there. I don't think there's anything that's that's going to cause guys to be out for a long time.
When we talked to Fairchild, he seemed to be maybe the poster boy for this complacency. He's a culture killer, and don't rest on last year, and keep getting better, and just strive to do that. Where can he go? What have you seen from him, and what is his ceiling? How much better can he get?
Well, he's such an intelligent young man in so many ways, and he's mature beyond his years, I think, and he sees it, but he understands, and I think that room does holistically that, the things that we do kind of, it mixes and matches talents and what they do, so they can all, what they're trying to do is work on their deficiencies first of all. That allows them to be on the field even more so, which also gets competitive, which is great. He has that burning desire to be better all the time, and figures out the ways of, he's not always the fastest, he's not always this, but all of a sudden, next thing you know, he just keeps making plays, and that means he's working hard at it, he's studying film, he understands what we're asking, and I think those are the things that even more so makes him the ability to still be one of the surprising tight ends in the Big 12 Conference.
Anything else for Coach?
All right. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your
Thanks.
Saturday.